Folks, let me start by saying something you already know deep down in your bones. Something that's as true as the sun rising in the east. Doubt is a part of life. It's that little voice that sneaks in, quiet as a shadow, right when you're about to take a step forward into something new, something bold. It whispers things like, "Are you sure you can do this? What if you're not good enough? What if you stumble, trip, and fall flat on your face in front of everybody?" Doubt is as common as the air we breathe, as regular as the ticking of a clock, and it hits every single one of us at some point. Whether you're starting a new job with a desk full of papers you don't yet understand, chasing a big dream that keeps you awake at night, or just trying to get through a tough day when the world feels heavy on your shoulders. But here's the truth. I want you to grab hold of today. A truth I want you to clutch tight and never let go. Doubt doesn't have to stop you in your tracks. It doesn't have to be a roadblock that sends you packing, tail between your legs, back to where you started. In fact, it can be the very thing that pushes you forward, that lights a fire under you, that stokes the coals of your spirit and turns into the drive you need to succeed, to climb that mountain, cross that river, and reach that goal you've set your sights on. The question isn't whether you'll have doubts, because folks, you will. They're coming as sure as rain in April and taxes in springtime. That's a promise written in stone. But the good news, the great news, the news that ought to put a spring in your step, is this: you've got the power, the God-given ability to take those doubts, flip them right on their head, and use them as fuel to get where you're going. You're not a prisoner to doubt. You're the captain of your ship. Let me show you how, step by step, so you can steer that ship through the storm and into the harbor of success. First things first, let's talk about where doubt comes from and how we handle it. Because understanding the enemy is half the battle. Doubt starts in your mind. It's a thought, a question, a little seed of uncertainty that drops in uninvited, like a weed in a flower bed. And if you let it sit there, unattended, ignored, or worse, nurtured with worry, it grows roots, deep and tangled, spreads out its branches, and pretty soon it's a weed, choking the life out of your confidence, strangling your hope, and shading your dreams. But the way you see that doubt, the way you choose to look at it, determines what it becomes in your life. If you look at it and say, "Well, that's it. I'm not cut out for this. I don't have the stuff. I might as well quit now and save myself the trouble," then you've handed doubt the keys to your future. You've let it climb into the driver's seat, buckle up, and take the wheel while you sit in the back, helpless. But if you look at that same doubt and say, "Hold on a minute, let's slow down and think this through. This is just a signal I'm stepping into something big, something worth fighting for, something that's going to stretch me and make me better," then you've just turned the tables. You've kicked doubt out of the driver's seat and taken the wheel yourself. See, your attitude is the lens you look through every day, the window you peer out of as you travel this winding road of life. You can let doubt cloud it up with fog and gloom, turning everything gray and dreary, or you can wipe it clean with a rag of resolve and see it as a challenge to rise above, a hill to climb that'll give you a better view on the other side. I recommend the rising approach every time, not because it's the easy way, it's not, but because it's the sure way, the proven way, the way that works. When you see doubt as a push instead of a pull, a nudge instead of a noose, you've already started turning it into drive, into the energy that'll carry you forward when the road gets rough. Now let's get practical about what happens when doubt knocks on your door, and it will, with a loud bang or a sneaky tap, depending on the day. Maybe it's a new opportunity, a promotion at work with more responsibility than you've ever handled, a business idea that's been simmering in your brain for months, a chance to change your life and rewrite your story, and you're excited, your heart's pumping, your mind's racing with possibilities. But then that voice pipes up, clear as a bell. What if I mess it up? What if I don't have what it takes? What if I step out there and everybody sees I'm a fraud? That's normal, folks. It's human to feel that wobble, that little shake in your knees, when you're stretching beyond what's comfortable, when you're reaching past the familiar into the unknown. But you don't have to stay wobbly. You don't have to sit down and let that tremble turn into a tumble. The difference between folks who let doubt paralyze them, freezing them solid like a deer in headlights, and folks who let it propel them, launching them forward like a rocket, is action. You've got to move, even when you're not sure, even when the ground feels shaky under your feet. You can't control the fact that doubt showed up. It's there, uninvited, sitting on your couch, eating your snacks, making itself at home, but you can control what you do next. Sitting there stewing, letting doubt talk your ear off about all the reasons you'll fail, all the ways you'll fall short, won't get you anywhere. It'll just dig you deeper into the mud. But standing up, squaring your shoulders, brushing the dust off your pants, and saying, I'm going to take a step anyway. Even if it's a small one, even if it's shaky, that's the spark that turns doubt into drive. Action is the antidote to uncertainty, the medicine that cures the sickness of hesitation. It's the broom that sweeps those cobwebs out of your mind, clears the clutter, and makes room for progress. Here's a little tool you can use when doubt starts rattling your cage, when it's banging on the bars and making a racket you can't ignore. Grab a piece of paper and a pencil. Nothing fancy, just something to write with, and jot down 3 things. What's the doubt telling me? What's the truth behind it? And what's one thing I can do right now to prove it wrong? Let's break that down so it's crystal clear. Say your doubt says, you'll never make this work. This dream's too big. You're too small. The truth might be, I don't have all the answers yet. I'm not an expert today, but I can learn as I go. I can grow into this. And the action could be, I'll spend an hour today, researching how to start, reading a book, watching a video, asking someone who's been there. That simple exercise does 2 big things, 2 powerful shifts in your favor. First, it shines a light on the doubt, so it's not some shadowy monster lurking in the corner, growling and snapping. It's just words on a page, a problem you can tackle, a puzzle you can solve. Second, it gives you a plan, a next step to take, a foothold to climb out of the pit. And a plan, folks, is like a compass when you're lost in the woods, when the trees are thick and the path's gone. It points you in the right direction when everything else is spinning, when the map's torn and the stars are hidden. Too many people stop at the doubt, listen to its lies, and build a wall out of it, a fortress they can't escape. Don't do that. Tear it down with action, brick by brick, and you'll find the drive waiting on the other side, ready to carry you where you need to go. Another key to turning doubts into drive is flipping the script on what doubt means, looking at it from a different angle, a brighter perspective. Doubt isn't a sign you're weak, a red flag that you're not up to the task. It's a sign you're growing, stretching, reaching for something beyond where you stand today. If you never had doubts, you'd never be pushing yourself beyond where you are right now, beyond the safe, cozy spot you've settled into. Think about it when you're coasting along, doing the same old thing, punching the clock, walking the well-worn path. Doubt doesn't bother showing up. It's got no reason to. It's when you're reaching for something higher, something bigger, something that makes your heart beat faster and your palms sweat, that it rears its head, peeking around the corner. So instead of seeing doubt as a stop sign, a big red X saying turn back, see it as a green light, a go-ahead, a signal you're on the right track, heading towards something worth having, something worth sweating for. I've never met a successful person, not one single soul, who didn't wrestle with doubt along the way, who didn't feel that tug of uncertainty, pulling at their shirt sleeves. The difference is, they didn't let it pin them down, didn't let it tie them up and hold them hostage. They used it as a sparring partner to get stronger, a punching bag to toughen their fists. When doubt says you can't, let it drive you to say, watch me, just watch me prove you wrong. That's how you turn a whisper of worry into a shout of determination. A bellow that echoes across the hills and says, I'm coming for what's mine. Let's talk about persistence, because doubt doesn't just show up once and leave politely with a tip of its hat. It's a repeat visitor, a pesky neighbor knocking again and again, especially when the going gets tough, when the wind's blowing hard, and the rain's pouring down. Success isn't about never doubting, never feeling that quiver in your gut. It's about keeping going even when you do. Even when the doubts pile up like leaves in the fall. When doubt builds a wall in front of you, tall and thick and intimidating, don't turn around and walk away, head hung low. Find a way over it with a ladder of grit, under it with a shovel of resolve, or through it with a hammer of willpower. Whatever it takes to keep moving. I think of a story about a young fella who wanted to start his own business, a little spark of an idea he couldn't shake. Doubt hit him hard, like a sledgehammer, told him he didn't have the money in his pocket, the know-how in his head, or the connections in his phone. Most folks would have listened to that, folded their cards, and given up, saying maybe next time. Not him. He kept at it, working nights after a long day, asking questions of anybody who'd listen, scraping by on pennies and prayers, until he turned that little idea into a thriving company that put food on his table and pride in his heart. Doubt was his obstacle, a big old boulder in the road, but persistence turned it into drive that carried him across the finish line, waving the flag of victory. You've got to keep moving, folks. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. Doubt might slow you down, might make you stumble, but it doesn't have to stop you unless you let it, unless you hand it the reins and say, "You win." Now let's shift gears and talk about proof. Because doubt loves to tell you you're not enough, loves to list all the ways you're lacking, all the reasons you'll come up short. But every step you take proves it wrong. Every move you make builds a case against it. Every time you act, even when you're unsure, even when your hands shake and your voice wavers, you build evidence that you can do hard things, that you can climb steep hills and ford deep rivers. It's like stacking bricks, one by one, slow and steady. You're building a tower of confidence that doubt can't knock down, a fortress of faith in yourself. Maybe you doubt you can speak in front of a crowd, your tongue tied and your stomach in knots, but you try it anyway. Step up to the podium and stumble through, words tripping over each other. Next time, you're a little steadier, a little surer, your feet planted firmer. Before long, you're standing tall, shoulders back, doubt in the rearview mirror, fading in the distance. That's drive in action. Each step forward turns "I can't" into "I did." Each effort turns a question into an answer. You don't have to start perfect, don't have to have it all figured out from the get-go. You just have to start, just have to take that first shaky step. The proof you need is in the doing, in the sweat and the struggle, and every bit of doing fuels the drive to do more, to reach higher, to run faster. Another thing to remember is that doubt often points you to what matters, like a finger tapping on the map of your life. If you didn't care, if it didn't mean something to you, you wouldn't doubt, you'd shrug and walk away without a second thought. When you're chasing something big, a dream that keeps you up at night, a goal that pulls you out of bed, a purpose that stirs your soul, doubt shows up because it's a sign you're invested, because your heart's in the game. It's like a spotlight shining on what's important to you, illuminating the stakes. So instead of running from it, hiding under the covers, or turning tail, use it. Let it remind you why you're in the fight, why you're swinging. Doubt about failing a test. That means you value learning. You want to grow your mind. Doubt about a relationship. That means you care about connection, about building something real. Take that energy, that buzzing, restless feeling, and channel it into effort. Study harder, dig into those books, love deeper, show up with your whole self, fight smarter, strategize your next move. Doubt isn't your enemy, isn't a thief stealing your peace. It's your compass, pointing you toward what's worth your time, your sweat, your tears. Turn it into drive, by letting it show you where to dig in, where to plant your flag, and say, "This is mine to claim." Don't try to face doubt alone, either, because that's a recipe for trouble. One of the worst things you can do is lock yourself in a room with your doubts, shut the door, and let them gang up on you, circling like wolves. Surround yourself with folks who believe in you, friends who'll cheer you on, family who'll stand by you, mentors who'll guide you with wisdom earned the hard way, who'll tell you the truth when doubt's lying to your face, spinning tales of failure. Sometimes you're too close to see past it, too tangled in the weeds to spot the clear path, but they can stand back and see the daylight you're missing, the break in the clouds you can't make out. 2 heads are better than 1, 3 are better than 2, and a team beats a solo act every time. It's simple math, folks. When doubt says you'll never make it, you're done. Let their voices rise above it, loud and clear, saying, "Yes, you will. We've got your back." And let that push you forward. Let it fill your tank when it's running on fumes. Drive isn't just in you, burning in your chest. It's in the people who lift you up when your knees buckle, who hand you a light when the dark closes in. Let's talk timing for a bit, because doubt doesn't wait for a convenient moment, doesn't check your schedule and say, "Is now a good time?" It shows up when you're busy, when you're tired, when you're already stretched thin as a wire, balancing a dozen plates. But here's the kicker, the twist that turns it all around. What feels like the wrong time might just be the right time to turn it into drive, to make something out of nothing. A doubt-filled moment can be the spark that lights your fire, the shove that gets you moving when you'd rather sit still and lick your wounds. I've seen folks turn their worst days, days full of doubt, days when the sky was falling and the ground was shaking, into their best victories, their proudest moments, because they refused to wait for perfect conditions, refused to wait for the sun to shine and the birds to sing. Doubt today could be the drive that builds your tomorrow, the raw material you forge into something solid and strong. Don't wait for it to leave. Don't sit there twiddling your thumbs, hoping it'll pack up and go. Use it now, while it's fresh, while it's hot, and watch it carry you further than you thought possible, further than you dared to dream. One more thing, and listen close because this is big. Don't let doubt have the last word. Don't let it write the end of your story. It's loud, it's pushy, it's got a big mouth, and a bigger attitude, but it's not the boss of you. You are. Doubt says you're not ready, you're not prepared, but you say, I'll get ready, I'll figure it out. Doubt says you'll fail, you'll crash, but you say, I'll learn, I'll grow, I'll get back up. Every time you talk back, every time you answer its jab with a punch of your own, you take its power away, and give it to your drive. You shift the balance in your favor. It's a choice, folks, a choice you make every day, every hour, every minute, to let doubt rule, or to rule it. Choose to rule it, choose to stand tall, and stare it down, and you'll find it's not a weight holding you down, not a chain around your ankles, it's a wind pushing you forward, a breeze at your back lifting your wings. So here's the bottom line, the rock-solid truth you can stand on. Doubts are coming, as sure as night follows day, but they're not conquering, not unless you wave the white flag. They're not here to bury you under the dirt. They're here to build you, to forge you, to drive you toward what you're capable of becoming, toward the person you were meant to be. Change how you see them, turn the lens from fear to fight, act despite them, take that step when your legs are shaking, prove them wrong, stack the evidence with every move you make. Let them point you to what matters, to the treasures worth your toil. Lean on others, borrow their strength when yours runs thin. Seize the moment, turn the bad timing into the best timing, and talk back when they get loud. Shout them down with your resolve. Do that, do all of that, and you'll turn every doubt into drive that propels you to the top, that lifts you above the storm. You're not a doubter, not a quitter.
You're a doer.
A fighter, a winner. The road's open, the fuel's ready, the engine's humming. Start driving today, right now, this very second. The world's waiting to see what you'll do with it, and I've got a hunch it's going to be something mighty.